Did you know the king had flops? Ever wondered which Elvis Presley songs radio stations avoid, like the plague? The world knows Elvis, for suspicious minds, Can't Help Falling in Love, and Jailhouse Rock. But what about his musical missteps that time forgot? Number 15. Song of the Shrimp. 1962. Yes, Elvis actually recorded a song about the life and death of a shrimp. This isn't a joke. From the soundtrack of his movie Girls, Girls, Girls comes possibly one of the strangest entries in the King's catalog. The tune follows the journey of a small shrimp swimming in the ocean, blissfully unaware that it's destined to be caught and eaten. Elvis croons with surprising sincerity. Life was sweet at the bottom of the sea, but the shrimp didn't know he was going to be part of someone's dinner, to be cooked and served to a king. The song features a bizarre narrative perspective, childlike lyrics, and a Caribbean-inspired melody that radio programmers have consistently passed over since its release. The track emerged during Elvis's Hollywood years, when his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, pushed him to churn out movie soundtracks at a frantic pace. Many music historians point to this period as the creative nadir of Presley's career, with Song of the Shrimp standing as prime evidence. Film critic Leonard Maltin once remarked that the song might be the moment Elvis's artistic credibility hit rock bottom. Despite the questionable quality, Elvis reportedly performed the song with complete professional commitment during recording sessions. Interestingly, while American radio shunned the song, it developed a small cult following in parts of Asia, particularly Japan, where its quirky narrative translated well. Still, when radio stations worldwide planned their Elvis marathons, you can bet your blue suede shoes that this fishy ballad rarely makes the playlist. Number 14. U.S. Mail, 1968. This pun-laden country song came just before Elvis's famous 1968 comeback special, but it didn't exactly signal his triumphant return to form. U.S. Mail relies heavily on a play on words between U.S. mail and male, as in a man, with Elvis warning another suitor to stay away from his woman. He delivers lines like, "This U.S. mail is gonna persevere, and deliver this mail right to you with a straight face," cementing this as one of his least requested radio tracks. Recorded in January 1968 during a Nashville session, the song was written by Jerry Reed, who also played guitar on the recording. While it reached pound 28 on the Billboard Hot 100 at the time, it has virtually disappeared from radio circulation in the decades since. Music critics have pointed to the forced wordplay and Elvis's uncomfortable delivery as reasons for its absence from modern plates. Radio programmer Diane Warren of KELF in Las Vegas explained, "We have over 200 Elvis songs in rotation, but U.S. Mail isn't one of them. The pun is cringeworthy, and our audience response metrics show listeners tend to change stations when we've experimented with playing it." The song represents a transitional period for Elvis, caught between his movie soundtrack era and his artistic rebirth, and unfortunately sounds like a relic that doesn't connect with contemporary listeners or nostalgic fans. Number 13. Old MacDonald, 1967. Yes, Elvis recorded the children's song Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and no radio stations don't want to remind you of this fact. This bizarre cover appeared on the soundtrack for the film Double Trouble, and it's exactly what you'd expect. Elvis singing about farm animals with an electric guitar backdrop. Country music historian Peter Cooper called it perhaps the most unnecessary recording in the Presley catalog, a sentiment radio programmers across America seem to share. The track features Elvis awkwardly, making animal sounds between verses and struggling to maintain his cool persona while singing lyrics intended for preschoolers. The production attempted to modernize the children's classic with rock and roll elements, but the result pleased neither children nor adults. Former RCA executive Steve Soules reportedly questioned the song's inclusion on the soundtrack, but Colonel Parker insisted on its commercial potential, which never materialized. Tom Moulton, a longtime DJ at WHBQ in Memphis, the station that first played Elvis's breakthrough singles, admitted, "In 45 years of broadcasting, I've never once had a request for Elvis's Old MacDonald. Not once. And I worked in his hometown where people request even his most obscure recordings. The song has been so thoroughly scrubbed from radio history that many serious Elvis fans are surprised to learn it exists at all." Number 12. Yoga is as yoga does, 1967. When Elvis met yoga, the result was this culturally tone-deaf oddity from the Easy Come, Easy Go soundtrack. The song features Elvis and actress Elsa Lanchester mockingly singing about yoga positions and Eastern philosophy, with lines like, "Yoga is as yoga does, it's all in your mind. To stand upon your little head and leave your legs behind." In an era when the Beatles were genuinely exploring Eastern spirituality, Elvis's approach feels particularly out of touch. The composition by Bernie Baum, Bill Giant, and Florence Kay attempts humor through cultural stereotyping and misunderstanding of yoga practices. The accompanying film scene shows Elvis in a yoga class, treating the ancient practice as a comedic set piece. This portrayal hasn't aged well, which explains why radio programmers steer clear of the track. It's a relic of mid-1960s, Hollywood's superficial treatment of non-Western traditions. Music historian Alana Nash wrote in her book Elvis and the Memphis Mafia that this song represented everything wrong with Elvis's movie career: forced humor, cultural insensitivity, and wasted talent. A 2018 survey of 500 American radio stations with regular Elvis programming found that Yoga is as Yoga Does had been played only 17 times in the previous year, mainly by specialty shows discussing the low points of his recording career. Number 11. Dominic, 1965. This forgotten track from the film Frankie and Johnny has Elvis singing about a cat named Dominic. Not metaphorically, it's literally about a house cat. The lyrics describe the feline's adventures in excruciatingly mundane detail, with Elvis earnestly crooning lines like "Dominic the impish one, sly little mischief done, chase the bird around the tree, then fall asleep till after 3. The song features a plotting arrangement that even Elvis's vocal talents couldn't salvage. Longtime Elvis historian Ernst Jorgensen has noted that during this recording session, Elvis expressed frustration with the material but was contractually obligated to complete it. According to studio musicians present that day, Presley recorded the song in a single take, refusing to do additional versions, saying, "It's not going to get any better than that, and I don't care anyway. We've never included it in our rotation because it doesn't represent what people love about Elvis." When Clear Channel, now iHeartMedia, compiled its standard Elvis playlist, distributed to hundreds of classic stations in 2005, Dominic was notably absent. Number 10. There's no room to rumba in a sports car, 1963. The title alone explains why this song rarely graces the airwaves. From the soundtrack of Fun in Acapulco, this novelty song has Elvis lamenting the lack of dance space in a small vehicle. With lyrics like, "There's no room to rumba in a sports car, too bumpy to samba in a Jeep," the song was dated even when it was released, combining forced rhymes with an awkward premise. Music critic Grail Marcus singled this song out in his book Mystery Train as exemplifying the creative wasteland of Elvis's movie years, writing that it represents the nadir of commercial calculation in Presley's career. Studio documentation reveals that the song was recorded in just 2 takes, suggesting even the production team wanted to move past it quickly. Former BMG executive Roger Semin, who worked on numerous Elvis reissues, admitted, when compiling Elvis compilations, certain songs like "There's no room to rumba in a sports car" simply never enter the conversation. Research shows zero confomer interest and research shows zero konzivliavornichist, and radio probers actively avoid it. A 2010 comprehensive study of Elvis radio plays by Nielsen SoundScan ranked this song in the bottom 1% of his catalog in terms of airplay, with most instances occurring on specialty shows discussing the worst songs of the 1960s. Number 9. Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, 1966. This bizarre promotional sounding track from the film Girl Happy has Elvis essentially delivering a tourist advertisement for Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The lyrics read like a Chamber of Commerce brochure set to music, with Elvis describing the city's beaches and extolling its virtues as a spring break destination. The forced rhymes and transparent commercialism make it one of the least requested songs in the King's catalog. The song emerged from Elvis's contract with MGM, which stipulated he would perform whatever material was provided for the film soundtracks. According to Presley's friend and Memphis Mafia member Marty Lacker, Elvis hated most of the movie songs, but this one made him particularly uncomfortable. He knew it was a commercial for Florida thinly disguised as a song. Interestingly, the Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce never officially endorsed or used the song in their actual promotional materials. Radio stations in Florida occasionally played the track as a novelty during spring break seasons in the 1970s and 80s, but even local DIAs have abandoned it. Thomas Sullivan, program director at WFLZ in Tampa, explained, "We tried including it in our Florida Songs Weekend special, but listener feedback was consistently negative. It's just too corny even for nostalgic purposes." Number 8. Queenie Wahin's Papaya, 1966. From the soundtrack of Paradise, Hawaiian Style, this culturally insensitive attempt at Hawaiian-themed music features Elvis singing about a woman who sells papayas. With lyrics that mangle Hawaiian language and culture, the song represents a low point in Elvis's soundtrack career. The chorus has Elvis repeating, "Queenie Wahin's Papaya is the best in Waikiki," with a painful emphasis on mispronouncing Waikiki. The recording session for this song was reportedly tense, with Elvis questioning the material. Studio musician Hal Blaine later recalled, Elvis kept asking if people really expected him to sing this stuff with a straight face. He was a professional, but you could see the disappointment. The song's arrangement unsuccessfully attempts to incorporate Hawaiian musical elements with rock and roll, resulting in a confused cultural pastiche that satisfied neither tradition. Hawaiian radio stations, which typically embrace Elvis due to his love for the islands and his 1961 benefit concert for the USS Arizona Memorial, notably exclude this song from their plutonies. Cultural historian Keola Donaghy of the University of Hawaii noted, "While Elvis is generally beloved in Hawaii, Queenie Wahin's Papaya is considered disrespectful in its caricature of Hawaiian culture and language. Local stations avoid it out of respect for listeners." Number 7. He's Your Uncle, Not Your Dad, 1969. This patriotic oddity has Elvis singing about respecting Uncle Sam and paying taxes. Released during a time of anti-war protests and counterculture movements, the song feels particularly tone-deaf with lyrics like, "He gives you lots of rope to swing on, so don't you ever try to swing on him." The awkward pro-government message came across as forced propaganda rather than genuine sentiment, making it a track radio programmers consistently skip. The song was recorded for the film The Trouble with Girls and represents an attempt by songwriters Gerald Nelson and Fred Birch to appeal to more conservative audiences amidst the cultural turmoil of the late 1960s. According to Presley historian Peter Gorilnik, Elvis was uncomfortable with the song's political implications, but recorded it to fulfill his contractual obligations. Even during patriotic holidays, when radio stations typically dust off American-themed songs, this track remains shelved. Radio consultant Alan Burns explained, "There are dozens of patriotic songs that connect emotionally with listeners. He's Your Uncle, Not Your Dad isn't one of them. It comes across as preachy and artificial listeners connect with." Number 6. Signs of the Zodiac, 1971. This spoken word, oddity, features Elvis narrating information about astrological signs over a meandering musical backdrop. Neither song nor poetry, the track has Elvis awkwardly reciting personality traits for each zodiac sign for nearly 4 minutes. It was included on Elvis Now, a collection of recordings from 1969 to 1971, and stands as one of the most perplexing entries in his catalog. The recording originated from a late-night session where Elvis, interested in astrology at the time, improvised much of the content. Producer Felton Jarvis later admitted he included it on the album as something different, but acknowledged it was a creative misstep. Elvis biographer Ray Connolly wrote that the track revealed the extent to which Elvis's handlers had run out of ideas for keeping his recording career fresh. Radio programmer Casey Kasem, famous for his American Top 40 countdown, reportedly received 0 requests for this track throughout his entire career, despite being a comprehensive Elvis historian. Modern streaming services report that Signs of the Zodiac has among the highest skip rates of any Elvis track when it appears on shuffle play. Listeners typically advance to the next song within the first 20 seconds. Number 5. Confidence, 1967. This children's song from the film Clam has Elvis singing life lessons to a puppet chicken named Gidget, with simplistic lyrics like, "Confidence, it's a feeling you get when you know you can do something well." The song was intended for young viewers, but came across as condescending even to children. The arrangement features a plodding tempo and childish background, vocals that clash dramatically with Elvis's mature voice. The film scene featuring this song shows Elvis walking down a street with a puppet chicken, singing about self-confidence while passersby stare in confusion. This visual context makes the audio recording even more perplexing when heard in isolation. Songwriter Joy Byers reportedly created the track in one afternoon after producers demanded a kid-friendly number for the film. Even dedicated Elvis radio shows tend to exclude this track. Tim Spencer, who hosts All Elvis Hour on satellite radio, explained, "In 15 years of programming, I've played nearly every Elvis recording at least once, except Confidence. It's so disconnected from what makes Elvis compelling that it actively damages the flow of any show." A comprehensive 2015 study of Elvis radio airplay across 300 American stations found that Confidence received fewer spins than even unreleased demo recordings and outtakes. Number 4. Do the Clam, 1965. Before the Macarena or the Chicken Dance, Elvis tried to launch his own dance craze with Do the Clam, from the soundtrack of Girl Happy. The song provides instructions for a non-existent dance involving clam-like hand movements, with lyrics like, "Do the clam, grab your barefoot baby by the hand." The song represents a transparent attempt to manufacture a trend that never caught on. The recording session for Do the Clam was reportedly completed in just 3 takes, with Elvis seemingly eager to finish the obligation. Songwriter Sid Wayne later admitted the concept came from a producer's desire to capitalize on dance crazes like the twist and the mashed potato, rather than from any authentic creative impulse. The resulting track features a generic arrangement that lacks the energy of Elvis's genuine rock and roll performances. Radio historian Ben Fontorres noted, "The dance craze songs that endure like the twist captured authentic cultural moments. Do the Clam tried to manufacture a moment that didn't exist, and radio programmers recognized this immediately." When Clear Channel created its Elvis Presley Forever programming package in 2002 for the 25th anniversary of his death, providing affiliated stations with approved Elvis pleats, Do the Clam was conspicuously absent despite the inclusion of over 150 tracks. Number 3. Kissin' Cousins. Title Song, 1964. While Elvis recorded several songs for the film Kissin' Cousins, the title track stands out as particularly problematic for modern audiences. The song cheerfully celebrates romantic relationships between family members, with lyrics like, "Kissin' cousins, we're just kissin' cousins. That's what we are." The uncomfortable subject matter makes it radioactive for programmers in the 21st century. Beyond the lyrical content, the song suffers from a generic arrangement that lacks the distinctive qualities of Elvis's better recordings. Music historian Colin Escott described it as assembly line music at its most transparent, a product rather than an artistic expression. The film itself has Elvis playing 2 roles, one as a dark-haired Air Force officer and another as his blonde hillbilly cousin, further emphasizing the problematic premise. Radio consultant Fred Jacobs explained why stations avoid the track. "Beyond the obvious content issues that make listeners uncomfortable today, it's simply not a memorable Elvis song to choose from. Why play one that makes your audience cringe?" A 2016 survey of Elvis's catalog, Airplay, found that Kissin' Cousins received fewer than 50 documented plays across all American radio stations that year, despite his catalog generating over 2 million total spins. Number 2. Patunia, the Gardener's Daughter, 1964. This novelty song from the film It Happened at the World's Fair features Elvis singing about falling in love with a gardener's daughter through a series of painfully forced plant puns. Lines like, "She's no pansy, she's no lily, I'm no daisy-picking fool," and "She's the girl I've got my roses on showcase," the creative bankruptcy of Elvis's movie period. The track combines a forgettable melody with cringe-inducing wordplay that radio stations have consistently rejected. The recording session for this song was contentious, according to musicians present. Guitarist Scotty Moore later recalled, Elvis asked if they were serious about recording this. When told yes, he shook his head and said, "Let's get it over with then." The song was recorded in just 2 takes, with Elvis showing no interest in perfecting his performance of the material. Radio programmer Alex Bartlett of KRTH in Los Angeles elevated the song's absence from airwaves. "Elvis recorded over 700 songs, and we regularly play about 60 to 70 of them. With that deep catalog of genuine classics, there's simply no scenario where programming Patunia, the Gardener's Daughter, makes sense. Our research shows that even dedicated Elvis fans prefer we skip these novelty movie songs." when RCA released Elvis, 30-pound one heeds in 2002, which became a global bestseller introducing Elvis to a new generation. This track didn't even merit consideration for inclusion. Number 1. Dominic, the Christmas Donkey. Never officially released. This holiday oddity was recorded in a single take during a 1960s session and never officially released by RCA. Unlike the popular children's song Dominic the Donkey, recorded by Lou Monte, Elvis's version was an improvised parody that studio executives correctly determined was not up to commercial standards. The recording features Elvis playfully singing about a donkey who helps Santa deliver presents, but the performance quickly devolves into Elvis laughing and abandoning the attempt. The track has circulated among collectors since the 1980s, when it appeared on bootleg compilations. Sound engineer Thorne Noger, who worked on the session, recalled, "It was just Elvis goofing around between takes. Nobody ever intended for people to hear it, but somehow it leaked out years later." The recording quality is poor, with Elvis clearly not taking the performance seriously, making it unsuitable for radio play on technical grounds alone. Radio stations that specialize in Christmas music consistently avoid this track, even during 24-hour Elvis Christmas specials. Holiday music programmer Andy Meadows explained, "There are standards for what constitutes a Christmas song worthy of airplay. Elvis's Blue Christmas is a perennial favorite, but Dominic the Christmas Donkey is a curiosity item for collectors, not a legitimate addition to holiday pleens." In the comprehensive Elvis radio airplay database maintained by BMG since 1993, this track has received 0 documented plays on commercial radio, cementing its position as Elvis's least played recording. Were you shocked by how many bizarre songs the king of rock and roll actually recorded? Have you ever wondered why Colonel Tom Parker pushed Elvis to record such questionable material when his talent clearly deserved better?